Hello, my friends. I am Bee, and this is Bee's Intuition. Today we're going to do a reading. I thought it would be fun to do, like, who is in your energy and why? What the heck do they even want? Why are they in your energy? Why are they in it? Let's just dive right in. Please and thank you, Spirit. Who is in the collective's energy and why? Please and thank you. I'm looking at a monarch butterfly right now, which is a common occurrence with these readings, I've noticed. I think this one likes me, which is completely probably not true because it's probably like just, you know, gravitating towards the flowers since they need that to live, right? But in my mind, we're best friends because I see them pretty much every single time I come down here. So I guess you could say we're kind of in a committed relationship or something. Anyways, that's a weird thing to say. Anyways, who is in the collective's energy and why? Please and thank you, Spirit. Who is in the collective's energy? Oh, jeez, Louise. There's no hope for me. Anything else, please and thank you, Spirit. Ooh. Ooh la la. Okay. So, the first one that came out is the Eight of Wands, and it came out in the reverse. It actually flew over here, and I had to pick it up. And I picked it up in the reverse. So, you know, I feel like that's intended. But with that energy, because the Eight of Wands can definitely indicate communication, I feel like somebody is lingering in your energy with no plans of communicating with you. Ugh. Why does that give stalker vibes? I don't know about that. Anyways, then the Hierophant came out. And then we have the Page of Wands. Oh, there's the ducky. I heard like the most perfect quack earlier before I started this reading. And I was just like, oh my god, it almost even sounded like a human doing a quack noise because it was like so perfect. But now I see him, or her. I think it's a girl because of the color. But very cute. Just lazily flowing down the river. Well, I'm sure that they, you know, kick their feet and stuff to keep themselves afloat, but she looks like she's just chilling. I can't really tell which kind of duck. Maybe mallard? Then again, I think that's the only duck name I know. Or type. Species. Okay, anyways. Where was I? Ducks, though, could be significant. Actually, it's interesting because this card that I'm about to show you, or I am showing you, is the King of Cups. Also, it's a swan, but waterfowl may be significant. Anyways, could be like a sign for y'all. And then the last card that came out is the Six of Cups. Oh, there's another one that flipped over inside the deck that I didn't even see. I'm going to show you before I show myself. Oh, I accidentally picked up two. Okay, let me put back the one that was facing me. Although the one that was facing me was actually a really good one. Maybe I was meant to pick them both up. Okay, I'm gonna just take them both. So the one that was flipped over was the Hanged Man, and the one that I accidentally picked up is the Empress. So, honestly, a lot of cards. But I feel like, you know, they come out for a reason. Bottom of the deck is the Five of Swords. I feel like there's somebody in your energy that you don't have very good memories of. Also, if each of these cards are representing a person that's in your energy, you have a lot of people in your energy. So you may be a person that draws a lot of attention even if you don't mean to. I feel like people notice you even if they don't say anything. Okay, let me just start clarifying, shall we? Starting with that Eight of Wands in the reverse. Please and thank you, Spirit. Who is in the collective's energy and why? What do they even want? Jeez Louise. Okay. So, Seven of Wands clarified by Four of Pentacles. Okay, I think I see where this is going. The Death card, the Chariot, Ace of Swords, Wheel of Fortune, bottom of the deck, Seven of Wands. Excuse me. So, okay. So what I was originally saying with the Eight of Wands in the reverse, that how that could be that this person has no intention of talking to you, I am now getting that this is probably somebody that you have blocked intentionally so that they cannot communicate with you. And with the Four of Pentacles, it's giving me selfish energy, to be quite honest. I feel like this is an unhealthy attachment that someone has with you. I don't like that message, but what's coming through is like they could see you more as like a possession than a person. Hey, maybe that's why you had to block them. But it's interesting because that Four of Pentacles is followed by the Death card and the Chariot. That's two major arcana. And the Death card can definitely deal with endings. Ooh, okay, now the tea's coming through. So this feels like you put an end to something with this person. You said this is the end of the road. Also, there could have been a major transformation that happened. Like once when you rid yourself of this energy in the past, there's like a huge transformation that took place here for you. And I think that's for the better because the Chariot card, why do I feel like it's almost like you had to cut something off, put something to an end, so that you could have either the energy or like the detachment to go forward with something. I almost feel like this person could have been like a heavy weight on the back of this chariot, holding everybody in place. And then it's like once you cut that weight off, suddenly you're much lighter. You're able to move forward now. I feel like this is somebody that definitely was holding you back in some regard in your life. And so you felt like you had to cut them off and move forward with your life. Also, moving on from this person could have aligned you to your life's purpose as well, or maybe your spiritual purpose, or whatever it is that you believe in that gives you that sense of purpose. It also could have been really scary, you know, especially if you were like with this person romantically, or it doesn't even have to be romantic, but definitely can be. Also, Scorpio and Cancer vibes. A lot of water sign energy. Doesn't have to be those specific signs. Could just be like the kind of energy that they're in while they're in your energy. I really do think that this is somebody that's reflecting on the past and what has taken place. I feel like this is somebody that's impressed with how much you've grown, how you have prioritized yourself in your own life, and you are an action taker. Maybe that surprises this person about you. And then we have the Ace of Swords and the Wheel of Fortune. So oh, interesting. Okay, so I'm getting this message. Well, this is somebody that is blocked, I think, because the Ace of Swords would probably indicate that this is somebody that actually does want to talk to you, share something with you, information, knowledge, something, maybe a different perspective. If this is somebody that you left behind in the past, maybe they want to give their side of the story, but I don't really care for this person's energy. Oh, gross. Well, that's not really. But I'm getting a message with that Wheel of Fortune that it's almost like they feel like they don't have to reach out to you because time, like eventually enough time will pass and you will want to be in this person's life. I think this is delusion on their end. I really don't think that this is something that you believe. But I feel like from this person's perspective, it feels very much like, oh yeah, they'll be back. I'll be able to tell them what I want to tell them when they come back around. Ooh, unless by come back around, I mean like a physical encounter. And I don't mean schmexually. I mean the two of you bumping into each other at a grocery store or something like that. Maybe they recently saw you and they're hoping to see you again. It almost feels like they're confident that they'll see you again. They do want to open the door for communication though. But it's probably going to be difficult because they are blocked, and they're probably blocked for a reason. And then bottom of the deck being the Seven of Wands, I feel like that makes a lot of sense because the Seven of Wands can deal with somebody holding their ground, being defensive, and I feel like this is all what they are expecting from you. They're expecting you to be guarded. They're expecting you to be standoffish with them. They're expecting you to kind of fight so that they're no longer around you. Or wait, fight. What was that message? So that they can fight. Aww, there's a doggy with his head hanging out the window. I love that. Anyways, oh, fight for. They want to fight for the ability to communicate with you, I feel. They want to show something through their actions as well. Or maybe this is a sign to look at their actions and not just listen to the words they say, but what are they actually doing? Because I feel like actions can tell you whether or not this person's truly changed. Whereas words, people can say all types of words, you know? I can say I'm the Queen of England and it doesn't have to be true. I can say anything, right? That's kind of the thing with communication. Sometimes people just make stuff up, especially if they think that's going to put them in a more favorable light. Yeah. I feel like they know what to expect pretty much, but the energy is like, I'm still gonna try. Also, the wands, because we're clarifying the Eight of Wands in the reverse, this is the Seven of Wands. Other than the Cancer and Scorpio energies that I got, I feel like also the Wheel of Fortune could be any fixed sign. That would be Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, and Taurus. But it doesn't have to be. But with the wands, why do I feel like this person is maybe more so drawn to you schmexually? Even if the two of you did have some sort of romantic past, it feels like this person's mind might be simply to reconnect in that kind of way. I want to see what's underneath the Seven of Wands. Six of Cups. Oh my god, yeah. Of course it's the Six of Cups because they've been reminiscing. They've been thinking about how wonderful their life was when they had you in their life. They think about how kind you are, how giving you are. And it's interesting that that's the only cup card coming through. And yet the narrative with it feels selfish. It's like, oh, like I want this person back in my life because they were very, understanding, compassionate. But if this is somebody that really drained you, it's like why would anybody choose to go back into that sort of situation? Interesting. But yeah, so that's one person that's in your energy. Also, The Wheel of Fortune could also indicate that this person feels like the divine will bring you two together when the timing is right. Could be a spiritual person, doesn't really have to be. I don't know. There's something about the Wheel of Fortune that is hitting me, though, as like, I'll see them again. I don't have to worry. I don't know how to feel about that yet. Yeah, so let's go into the Hierophant and see what that's all about. Please and thank you, Spirit. Who's in the Collective's energy with that Hierophant card, and why are they in the Collective's energy? What do they want? Please and thank you. Who is this Hierophant figure? Please and thank you, Spirit. Okay. Okay. Yes, okay. Sometimes they come out in a certain way, and I kind of have to listen to my intuition to know exactly, like, how it was supposed to come out. Anyways, what came out for the Hierophant is the Two of Swords, the World card, the King of Wands, and then we have the Six of Cups upright, and the Six of Wands coming out in this direction. And the angle it came out was kind of like this, but I'm taking it as this. I might also read it in the reverse as well. So the Hierophant could definitely be indicating somebody that's older, somebody that's more experienced potentially, somebody that's very wise, knowledgeable, all those types of things. But with that Two of Swords, I feel like this is somebody that feels stuck, or like maybe they have a choice to make and it's not an easy choice. Or maybe this is past energy. I feel like there's something with that Two of Swords about being in the dark about something, not seeing something quite clearly. And it could be just a matter of like, I need to make a decision and I don't know which way to go. Or maybe it's like I need to trust in my intuition, listen to my inner voice rather than what is outside of me. So yeah, this could be definitely a spiritual person, especially because of the Hierophant being what we're clarifying here. And then the World card can indicate like a completion of a cycle. Oh. Oh. Okay, I see now. So this is somebody that was in the Two of Swords energy, confused. They had a choice to make. They weren't sure what to choose, where to go. But with the World card following that, I feel like they've completed that cycle of not knowing what to do, not knowing what to choose. And this is for the best. Because the World card can indicate closing of cycles, but it's like the cycles that were not serving you, the cycles that you felt stuck in. And then it's like, okay, once you're free of that cycle, you can go into a higher vibration, like a cycle that is actually good for you and helps you grow, helps you become more enlightened. I almost feel like you inspired this person to close out a specific cycle that they were going through. Also, the Hierophant is more of a traditional type of person, somebody with traditional values. Could have even had something to do with a marriage, because the Hierophant can also deal with like traditional long-term relationships as well. And then they're showing up as the King of Wands. That's a very confident energy. And then the Six of Cups would indicate that this person has fond memories with you. They're reflecting. Maybe they're also reflecting on their own actions from the past. Maybe they sabotaged something here and they're thinking back on that. Because, oh, I think I know why it came out like kind of like that, because I think it's a mixture of like the card coming out this way and then also coming out this way. Okay. So reading it this way, I feel like that's a very positive indication. And I think this indicates this person's purpose to being in your energy. I believe that there is a desire to come forward and be successful in either giving you some sort of message or be successful in pursuing something with you, whether that be romantic or otherwise. I do feel a sense of romance because of that Six of Cups. The King of Wands can be, even though like the fire signs may get more of a reputation of like passion and lust and all that stuff, I feel like at the same time they can also be very deeply loving companions. Yeah. Because a lot of the time too with those fire signs is like they're ruled by their heart a lot of times. And that can look very passionate. That can look very specific. But, like all signs, there's a wide variety and a spectrum to it. Typically, people that are in a specific zodiac sign, they don't typically, match all the stereotypes. Yeah, anyways. So, this is their desired outcome, is success with you. And this is propelling this person to go towards you. So this feels like somebody that actually would like to communicate, would like to share something about what they've been doing. But again, because it came out kind of like this, I'm going to read it in the reverse as well. And I think that's intentional because it feels almost like, yes, they want to go towards this success with you, but they're afraid that it's not going to become a success. They may actually fail in this they may actually fail in this desired outcome, pretty much. So, this could be an ex because of the Six of Cups. But not necessarily. Sometimes I feel like this could even be somebody that you've like briefly dated, but things didn't work out. Doesn't have to be like a whole long-term relationship. Although this is the type of person to probably want a long-term relationship. But yeah, I feel like this is somebody that's motivated to come towards you. They may express themselves sort of passionately. And maybe they're kind of unsure like exactly how to show up in order to get the best results. I don't know how much I like that message, because it's like that almost sounds like a little bit manipulative to me. But then the bottom of the deck is the Temperance card. Sagittarius. This could be somebody that really, and also the Hierophant is Taurus. But this is somebody that sees something from a more enlightened perspective. And I feel like this is something that they would like to share with you. Maybe it's an epiphany, divine wisdom. Also, there could be like a desire to kind of heal and balance out this connection they feel with you. Yeah, I feel like this person has shifted, at least mentally. and probably in a big way. And I feel like that's what they really want to share with you, is how they've changed, grown, adapted to maybe a new sort of lifestyle even. I also do sometimes see the Temperance card as like a card of like focusing on one's health. Um, yeah, this could be somebody that's making healthier choices or something. I want to see what's underneath the Temperance card. Six of Pentacles, yeah. So this person is very clear about what they want here. They want to balance out this connection and they'd like to share something with you. Whether that be a gift, information. I think it's information. It feels like a conversation that this person is desiring. But they just may not be quite sure about the reception that they will receive from you. Because maybe this person left a bad taste in your mouth. Or maybe you're just, not feeling it between the two of you. Yeah, either way, they feel like they can either be successful or fail. Like they kind of don't know what would happen if they come towards you. Which, I think that's kind of normal. We typically don't know how things are going to play out before we actually do them. But it feels like they're very motivated, especially with them showing up as the King of Wands. The King of Wands is a person of action. Definitely somebody that pursues things, pursues their dreams, goals. I feel like this could also be somebody that's very goal oriented, ambitious. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, that's a pretty straightforward message, though. They've been thinking about you, and they want to tell you about something that they've changed in relation to you, most likely. Maybe they changed to be a better person for you. Maybe this is somebody that gave off toxic vibes in the past, and maybe that's why you cut this person off. They could have been like a huge red flag or something, but maybe they've been working on themselves since that point. Or at least that feels like what they want to communicate to you. Okay. Let's go on to the Page of Wands. Please and thank you, Spirit. Who is in their collective's energy and what do they want with that Page of Wands? Please and thank you, Spirit. Who is this Page of Wands and what do they want? Oh, geez Louise. Anything yet? Ooh. Ooh. Ah, okay, that's way too many. I'm not going to pick all of those. Okay, well, that flipped over, so I'll grab those, but I'm putting those back. Because that was like a whole thing that fell out of the... this might actually be way too much for this card, but whatever. Okay. So the first card that came out is the Four of Wands, but again, it came out as at a strange angle that's kind of between this way and this way. So with the first one coming out like that, it kind of indicated to me like a hesitance, like a desired outcome, but also hesitance because they're not sure if they will get that desired outcome. With this coming out like that, why do I feel like this is somebody that may be afraid of commitment, but yet also wants commitment? Is what I'm getting with this Page of Wands and the way that this Four of Wands came out. It's like, yes, I do technically want union, but maybe based off of their past experiences, unions haven't really worked out the best. They haven't always been healthy. Maybe they just assume that all connections, relationships are unhealthy. And that could, yeah. So maybe they do have a little bit of a fear of commitment just because they've been hurt in the past. But it does feel like overall, this is what they desire. Interesting. Also, I sometimes see the Page of Wands as somebody that just went through some sort of transformation, like regenerated themselves, transformed themselves. Now they're in a completely different energy than how they were showing up in the past. Like, to me, it gives that like newborn babe kind of energy of like, when you're, it almost came towards me, the monarch, butterfly. Anyways, it's so beautiful. Anyways, Oh no, did I lose it? No. Okay. Sometimes I see the Page of Wands as that youthful, optimistic energy, you know, like what we feel before the world kind of really puts us down and makes us doubt ourselves. So this could be somebody that's gone through a significant transformation. Why do I feel like this could be the Hierophant that we were just covering? Because the energy is similar. I feel like a similar energy. Ooh, and that makes, okay, let me just show you what else came out because I keep getting distracted with messages. The High Priestess came out, and then the Eight of Wands came out. And there's more that came out, but I'm going to focus on these two. Why do I feel like, yeah, so like with them showing up as the Hierophant earlier, maybe they were a little bit stuck in their ways. With the High Priestess, this is more New Age spirituality. So, and it doesn't even have to be specific to this person's spiritual beliefs, but I feel like in some way they've transformed to be more intuitive, to be more, why do I want to say silent? And maybe this is like somebody that, oh, okay. I'm getting the message of like somebody that may need a lot of distractions. Maybe this is somebody that has like a very busy mind. And so they need a lot of distractions going on in the background and they don't ever truly allow themselves to be still, quiet, and contemplative. But it's like now they are. They're practicing this. And why do I feel like you're the one that inspired them to do this? For some reason, I'm getting that your energy is a mixture of the Hierophant and the High Priestess. So I feel like you kind of, you got the best of both worlds, is what I'm hearing. I'm specifically hearing the Hannah Montana song. um, anyways, and this is following the Four of Wands. And so it feels like this connection they feel with you has affected them in a spiritual, internal sort of way, but very significantly. And with that being followed by the Eight of Wands, I feel like this could definitely be somebody that has the desire to communicate. Maybe they have a lot to say. Passionate communication could be a thing. Also, I feel like it's almost like they want to show you their growth. Like, hey, I may have shown up really crummy in the past, but let me show you how I've changed. Sometimes I do see the wands as action related, so it's like they want to show you through their actions, maybe, as well as their words. Also, sudden communication could be a thing where it's almost like you don't expect this person to reach out and then all of a sudden they do, like when you least expect it. Maybe when you're meditating with that high priestess there. Maybe when you're experiencing a moment of silence, of stillness, this person comes in unexpectedly to share something with you. Okay, so let me show you all the rest of the cards that came out. Honestly, pretty good ones. Yeah, so clarifying that Page of Wands. Also, we have the Nine of Cups, Two of Wands, King of Cups. This is the next card we're going to clarify. Interesting. Double confirmation for King of Cups in this reading, for sure. The Hermit, the Five of Wands, and then bottom of the deck is the Ten of Wands. I feel like this is somebody that has been holding something. It feels like they've been holding back something that they want to share with you or express to you. With that Ten of Wands at the bottom of the deck, it feels like this is somebody that feels overburdened by maybe words left unsaid, certain things not being communicated or not being communicated in the proper way. But they want to release this burden. I feel like, yeah, there's something that this person wants to tell you, but they well, it feels like the longer that they hold on to this and leave it unsaid, the more they desire to open up about it. Whatever this thing is. Could simply just be an expression of feelings, but it could be so many other things too. With the Nine of Cups, I feel like this again has something to do with like self improvement. I feel like I'm getting like a strong energy of somebody that's making different choices. And especially if they're sort of that Hierophant sort of type of person, like archetype, I feel like this could be like a huge deal to this person. Maybe this is somebody that does not like change. This is somebody that likes to stay in the same old, same old. They want to stay in the same sort of habit, schedule, routine. This is somebody that doesn't care for change. But I feel like this definitely feels like it's heavily influenced by you, though. Why do I feel like you're the person that kind of creates change, or not even creates it yourself, but you inspire change in others? Maybe because you're somebody that is not afraid of change. Maybe you've transformed a lot within your life. With that Nine of Cups, yeah, maybe this was also somebody that was very codependent in relationships, and maybe they are experiencing their singleness, but in a positive way. So this could be somebody that typically thinks that when you're sick, ugh. Yes. So maybe they typically associate being single with being kind of sad, lonely, miserable. But I feel like they're learning something in this period of singleness. They're growing more content with it. They're finding other ways to fulfill themselves. Maybe they find it more fulfilling than when they were in a relationship. Yeah. Because it's interesting too, because I usually get the Nine of Cups as like a wish fulfillment card, but I feel like it's more so this person finding comfort within themselves, which I think is really beautiful and very positive, especially if they struggled to feel that sense before. And actually, that makes sense too with that High Priestess message I was getting, because it's like now that they are able to meditate, truly reflect, have that moment of stillness, of quiet, of calm, so that they can do that sort of internal work. I think in turn that does lead to you feeling better about yourself, better about, where you're at, because at least you're like aware of what's going on internally. Even if you haven't like healed or, gone over any sort of major speed bump or whatever, or obstacle. Interesting. And then the Two of Wands, following that Nine of Cups. This is somebody that's definitely been watching you, I feel. It almost feels, well, yeah. It feels like this is somebody that's kind of been keeping to themselves, working on something, but at the same time keeping an eye on you. You may make this person very curious. They may want to know, like, what you have going on in your life. I'm getting the message, what are your plans for the future? Because that's definitely a strong theme with the Two of Wands here. Planning for the future. Maybe now that they are finding this contentment within themselves and maybe experiencing some growth, maybe they're reevaluating what they want their future to look like. And again, if this is somebody that's very stubborn and stuck in their ways, that's a big deal. To open up to a different possible outcome, a different possible future for themselves. I don't know why, but I feel like you inspire this person to dream, to be more optimistic. You could be like somebody that kind of restores someone's faith in humanity, especially in, the climate that we're living in right now in the world and in the country. It is rare to come across people that remind you that humane treatment exists, people that care for one another exist. There's something about you that really inspires this person to be a better person and take action proactively, even. And then the King of Cups would indicate that this is somebody with very deep, very significant feelings for you. And maybe that was not shared in the past, but now they want to come forward to express their feelings. Also, maybe this is somebody that's also learning how to emotionally regulate themselves, because maybe this was somebody that was like kind of scared of their emotions, kind of scared of their feelings, and maybe they kind of like, maybe because they struggled with emotional regulation, you know, feeling intense feelings for you could have really triggered this person and made them sort of backpedal or self-sabotage or something like that. But then the Hermit card would indicate that this is somebody that's been doing internal work. Again, there's like that meditative energy with that card that reminds me of the High Priestess. I believe the High Priestess is Pisces, and the Hermit is Virgo. This is somebody that's done some heavy reevaluation. Somebody that's been doing some reevaluating what they have going on in their life and maybe their habits, their patterns. And again, there's something about planning for the future in a healthier way, maybe. Maybe this is just somebody that really didn't have high hopes for their life and they just were like, well, guess I'm going to be miserable for the rest of my life. And somehow you come into the picture and you show people that they don't have to, what's the word I'm looking for? They don't have to give up. They don't have to just accept that their life is always going to be miserable. You could inspire people to like change direction. And because the Hermit is showing up here, I almost feel like maybe there was a period of time of like a lack of communication, but it was very necessary so that they could do that internal work, so they could take a step back, really focus on themselves and their internal world. Because I feel like this person doesn't typically have an easy time when it comes to self-reflection. But the great thing about doing that is it gets easier with time. And so maybe that's something that they're realizing too. Also, there's like a lot of wisdom with the Hermit, gaining of knowledge, gaining of wisdom, especially internal wisdom. And also realizing that the answers are inside of you. Also, could be an indicator that this is somebody older than you, which, you know, with the Hierophant we had earlier that we clarified and the Hermit now, I feel like both of those could definitely indicate that this is somebody mature. That this is, oh. So either maybe they're older than you, don't have to be. It could be about them maturing in terms of their personality. So maybe they kind of maybe they showed up as a page in the past, because the pages can be like youthful or immature energy. And so I feel like this could have been somebody that showed up in a youthful / immature energy before, but they've since then they've matured and they've learned a lot. And then that's followed by the Five of Wands. This may speak to like internal confusion that they were experiencing. Maybe they also kind of anticipate you being a little bit standoffish with them. Also, it could be possible that this person is drawn to you during this time because they're noticing that they have competition. And they're realizing that they need to step it up if they want some sort of chance with you here. Because it almost feels like they're coming in to either fight for this connection or fight to be with you in some way. Yeah. And then with that 10 of Wands at the bottom of the deck, it does feel like they've been burdened for quite some time, and this is something that's kind of built up over time, it feels like. It almost even feels like a volcano eruption or something. It's like it's been bubbling up, boiling up, whatever a volcano does. And then it's like, okay, now we can release. Like it hits that point where it's, time for a release. And I feel like this is that person kind of being like, maybe along the lines of like, it's now or never. Because maybe in the past they came up with excuse after excuse after excuse to not communicate or to not share something with you. And now they're feeling like, I'm going to be miserable if I don't communicate. Like, even if this person, blows it, if they're trying to make a good impression on you or with you, they could be nervous. I feel like there's another part to that message, but I forgot. Okay, I want to see what's underneath the 10 of Wands. 4 of Cups. They could be a little scared that you're going to reject them and whatever they have to say. I also feel like maybe they're worried that you won't listen to what they have to say. And they're hoping that you will open your mind to that you won't be closed off to them. I feel like it also could be something to do with a sense of closure, even. Like, I don't really feel like this person's like forcing you to think any specific thing. It almost feels like they just kind of want to share their story, their side of the story, the things that they've been doing, and then you can make your own sort of decision after that, whether or not you want this person in your life or not, or things along those lines. Also, this could be somebody that acted like they weren't interested in you romantically in the past, but the whole time they were romantically interested in you. So, yeah, they could have misled you before, and maybe you were like, okay, well, like, I feel this connection with this person. Why aren't they showing me, or acting or doing something here? There's something about realizing how much their ego and their pride was getting in the way of this connection they feel for you. I feel like that's one of the biggest things they've learned through these periods of isolation, reflection, meditation, is like they're realizing how much their ego played a part, and they didn't even realize that it was their ego. They didn't even realize how toxic they were being potentially. But now it's like they're realizing that I kind of need to get over myself. I kind of need to, and maybe it was like even they played games, or because like that's a whole nother thing too, is like sometimes people play these games, in the dating scene, and it's not even that they really believe that, in those games, but it almost is like they feel like that's how you win. That's how you become the victor. That's how you become successful in the pursuit of, romance, love, whatever, is like by playing these games. And that's usually societal programming more so, and messages from media that's like, oh, you have to play the game if you want to be successful. You have to act like this and this. You have to act attached. You have to act cold towards the other person. I don't know. Like, there's a whole bunch of like toxic dating advice out there. And so maybe they were listening to it and they were like, okay, I'm gonna, play some mind games with this person. But you're probably the type of person that either those mind games do not work on, or you can see right through them. And you're like, I'm not going to um, play into these ego driven traps almost like, eh. But, it feels like this is somebody that's really taking accountability. And I appreciate that. And I do feel like this is the same person as that Hierophant. It's just like a different energy that they're showing up in. I almost feel like they kind of want to show you that they can be flexible, that they, can change. They're not just somebody that's stuck in their ways. They're not a lost cause, if that was something that you kind of thought that they were, especially if they were showing up in really unhealthy and toxic ways in the past. Interesting. Okay, let's go into the King of Cups now. Please and thank you, Spirit. Who's in the collective's energy and what do they want with this King of Cups here? I'm curious whether or not this is the same person or not. I don't know why, but I feel like this King of Cups is different than the Page of Wands. Because the Page of Wands, we had the King of Cups come out to clarify it. But this King of Cups feels different for some reason. Well, maybe it is the same person. Interesting. Interesting. Wow. So, the first card that came out to clarify the King of Cups is the King of Pentacles in the reverse. But then I tossed it and it kind of went more so... Wait, which way did it go? Yeah, it kind of went more so in this direction when I dropped it. So I'll read it both ways. In the reverse, this could be somebody that's really immature or not immature. Well, yeah, I guess, because there is a lot of maturity with the pentacles, but more so somebody that's insecure, somebody that's feels unstable and instability. They're not confident in what they do, like such as work. They don't have enough material comforts, it feels like. So this could be somebody that has really deep feelings for you because we are clarifying the King of Cups, but at the same time, I feel like they struggle with their self-image and struggle with feeling like they have enough to offer you or to make a good offer for you. And then with it coming out sort of in that direction, it feels like limitations within the mind for some reason. Maybe they feel like it's absolutely impossible for them to become the King of Pentacles upright. And so they kind of tell themselves, like, I'm never going to be what this person deserves or desires. And so I might as well not even try. That's the kind of energy I'm getting. This is somebody that's really why do I keep trying to say immature? I'm not trying to say immature. Insecure is what I'm trying to say. You know, and maybe because they are so insecure, maybe they do act immature as a result of that. And that insecurity could come out in the form of immaturity. But yeah, I didn't even show you the rest of the cards that came out. But we also have the Page of Cups, Nine of Swords, Ace of Wands, King of Swords upright, and then the Hierophant. Double confirmation for the Hierophant again. And bottom of the deck, we got the Lovers. Okay. Oh. Yeah, this could be somebody that kind of puts you on a pedestal. I almost feel like they kind of downplay themselves and they're like, I'm not a king, I'm just a page. I'm getting that song, I'm just a girl in the world. No, but like, and again, it feels like they feel like, and this is from their perspective, they feel like they don't have enough to offer you, even if that's not the case. That's how they see themselves. Also, they may see themselves as like lesser than you. Like, you know, maybe they do feel like they're immature compared to you because maybe they feel like, okay, that's an adult that is good at adulting, which, you know, I don't know if this is a spoiler for anyone, but, you know, typically what we see on the outside is not what somebody's experiencing on the inside. And so just because somebody looks like they're put together and they have their whole life figured out, that doesn't mean that they do. That's really just our projection onto that person. So, yeah, I feel like they kind of just like see you as like you're grown, you have that confidence within yourself, that life experience within yourself, you're comfortable with who you are and what you're doing. Whereas this person feels maybe like a little kid, still trying to figure things out, feeling a little bit lost, maybe not quite believing in themselves entirely and having enough confidence in themselves compared to what you have. But, you know, isn't it that saying of like, oh, bumblebee, um, there's like that saying of like, comparison is the thief of joy. Oh, there are two monarch butterflies. Aww. Now they're flying together. So, that's really cute. That talks to me about companionship, being a pair, being a couple. So, this could be somebody that would love to be your person, your counterpart, your soulmate, but they could feel like there's no way in hell that's going to happen though, because they feel like they are severely lacking within themselves and within their life. And that makes me feel really sad because I feel like, you know, inherently as humans, we deserve love. We deserve to have people in our lives that care about us. You know, no matter at which point we are in our journey, we still deserve love. We still deserve respect, dignity. And like, even if this person's at the start of their spiritual journey, that doesn't mean that they have to stay completely to themselves, self isolate to an unhealthy extent, or, you know, prevent interactions with others. Um, yeah, definitely a lot of insecurities here. And with that Nine of Swords following that Page of Cups, I feel like that's a strong indication of this person's mental health just not being good. They have a lot of anxiety. They can't sleep. They're overthinking. They also could be feeling really down on themselves. I feel like it's almost like the things that their mind convinces them of, if that makes any sense. It's like that's where the blockages are. That's where like this person is held back, is their mind. So maybe this is somebody that kind of needs to focus more so on like active, I guess I would say active listening to that internal critic. Because sometimes all we need to do is just be like, you know, when that nasty voice, you know, tries to speak to us, tries to tell us, oh, you're not good enough, you're never going to be successful, you know, you're a loser, you're a failure, you know, sometimes we just need to look at that shadow, look at that voice in our minds and be like, who asked you for your opinion? Because I think I'm doing great, you know? And, you know, obviously that gets better or easier with more experience, but definitely feels like this is somebody that kind of needs to stand up to themselves, if that makes any sense. Um, and I think a lot of that internal work of doing that sort of thing, it also reveals to us that a lot of these mindsets that we have, opinions that we have about ourselves, we can usually trace those back to our childhood and, you know, what we were told by our parents, by society, by peers, and what we've sort of internalized as truth. And when we reflect on it, it's like, okay, wait, why am I still holding on to the fact that, you know, I was considered too ugly in middle school, or I was not worthy of love, you know, in elementary school, like, or something like, you know, and then it's like you kind of face that and you're like, so why am I living my life based on what a kindergartner thinks of me, you know, or whatever, you know? Um, or, you know, just somebody that's irrelevant in my life now, and I'm still almost listening to that criticism that may not even be true. Most of the time it's not even true, especially when we're like super critical about ourselves. But anyways, um yeah, they've been really mentally struggling with how they feel, how they think of themselves, their mindsets, etc. And then the Ace of Wands. And this is kind of a sad message too, because it almost feels like this person doesn't have a lot to offer you, but, and this is from their perspective. Of course, you know, we are our own worst critics. So maybe from the outside, you're like, what is this person talking about? Like, they have so much to offer. But from their perspective, they don't have a lot to offer you. But the Ace of Wands to me is indicating that, you know, maybe I don't have what it takes to be in a relationship, but if you want to do some hanky panky, you know, if you want to like do the deed, I'm down for that kind of thing. So it's like they can provide for you sexually, or physically, but not in any other way. And this is from their perspective, of course. Also, with that King of Swords, I almost feel like maybe that King of Swords is how they may see you to an extent. That you are maybe guarded or very logical, very sensible. So it almost even to me speaks to of like you want somebody that's on your level, somebody that would logically make sense for you in your life. And they feel like, according to logic, they don't fit that standard or role. But why do I feel like this is not based on anything that you actually said, but rather what they assume about you? Interesting energy. Also, maybe there's something about them desiring um, to become more of the King of Swords, somebody that's not as feeling. So maybe this is somebody with really deep feelings. That would make sense because we are clarifying the King of Cups here. So it's like this is somebody that may feel things very deeply and that has not served them in the past. And so they would much rather show up as the King of Swords, somebody that kind of acts like they don't have feelings, even though they do, you know? And they go based off of logic, rationality, all that. And it's interesting because the Hierophant being the last card that came out following that King of Swords, I feel like this is somebody that would. So I think I see this, what this is trying to say. It almost feels like this is somebody that sees you as their ideal person, somebody that they could easily see themselves committing to, becoming life partners with, doing life with you. But they feel, from your perspective, that they do not have what it takes to fulfill you. So it's almost like they see you as the ideal person, but they feel like they're not the ideal person for you, if that makes any sense. So it almost feels like they're convincing themselves that this connection they feel with you is one sided, but I really don't feel like that's in touch with reality. It feels very much like this is just somebody that's overthinking something, telling themselves a narrative, a story, without any evidence to really truly back that up. Yeah, this person's a little bit in a confusion, yeah, but like very in a just yeah, just a confused mental state in general. Could be somebody that definitely has a lot of thoughts, anyways, like somebody that's like, kind of like ADHD, overactive energy in their mind. Yeah. Um, and then with the bottom of the deck being the Lover's card, this could be somebody that literally sees you as their equal, the perfect kind of person for them. It's almost, oh, okay, don't break my heart like that. There's a message coming through about like in another life we would be perfect for each other, but as it stands now, we're not. I don't know why, but that makes me sad. I think because I feel this person and their energy, they feel like a decent person. And isn't it so sucky that some of the most beautiful souls are the most critical towards themselves, are the people that feel like they're never good enough, that they have to keep working on themselves, they have to keep trying to be better, they have to keep, that they're never fully, you know, good enough. And so they kind of live their life trying to convince themselves almost that they're good enough. I don't know. It just kind of breaks my heart because it feels like they feel a very powerful connection with you, but it's almost like they don't see how you would, like, they don't know how they would be able to keep you happy. They don't know how it's like they almost feel like if you were to enter a connection with them, that they would be more of a hindrance than a help. They would be more of a chore than something that you enjoy being around, or they would feel like they are a burden to you in some way rather than, a companion. I don't know. I'm going to see what's underneath that Lovers card. Six of Pentacles. So there is something that they want to share with you. Maybe they're figuring something out in their financial world. Maybe they're building up their finances so that they can feel more so like the King of Pentacles upright. I feel like they want to give you something to help balance this connection out. I almost feel like maybe they even want to like tell you how they feel. Like, I feel like we're soulmates, but right now my life is too much of a mess to truly pursue this or something. So I don't know. Because their mind is so kind of scattered and confused and they feel a little bit stuck in their head, I don't know how realistic it is to say that this person will reach out to you. But I think that's their desire to reach out to you, to share maybe information with you, their perspective, or how they feel. Maybe they also feel like you came into their life for a reason. Because, like, it's almost like, Spirit had to bring us together for some reason. Like, there must have been some reason behind this, even if we can't be together. And maybe that's kind of what they want to share, is their perspective of that. Very, very interesting. Okay, let's go into the Six of Cups now to clarify that. Please and thank you, Spirit. Who is in the collective's energy and why? But that's Six of Cups. Please and thank you, Spirit. I think somebody's being really nostalgic, thinking back on good memories with you. Maybe memories that go all the way back to childhood even. Doesn't have to be, but definitely could be. Anything else for that Six of Cups, please and thank you, Spirit? Okay. Interesting energy. Okay. Okay. So, clarifying that Six of Cups, we have the Emperor, the Ten of Pentacles, Hanged Man came out like this, and then the Queen of Pentacles upright. And then, bottom of the deck, Seven of Cups. This is somebody that's very successful, very boss-like, very authoritative. Something about this person being well established, maybe within their career, within their life, within their finances, and their physical world for sure. There's a sense of confidence and security that this person has. And they're reflecting on their past with you. Or they could just be reflecting on their past in general. If this is somebody new that you may not know that well. Maybe they're just reflecting on their past in general and thinking back to old relationships that they had with other people. Maybe kind of trying to learn from those things. Like, okay, this relationship didn't work out because of X, Y, and Z. So maybe if I did ABC, we would get a different outcome or something like that. And actually that would make a lot of sense because of the way that the Hanged Man came out. This is somebody that has taken time to pause, to reflect on something, and they've changed their perspective. And that shift in perspective is propelling them towards you. Maybe they have a different outlook to love now, or relationships, connections. And then they see you as the Queen of Pentacles. Somebody that's stable, secure, kind, down to earth, gentle. Oh, this is such an interesting message I'm getting. It almost feels like this person could even be looking back on their past relationships and thinking about how they may have gone for a very specific type of person. And this could be somebody that's kind of been reflecting on that and like, okay, this is my type. But every time I go towards somebody that is my type, it may end, bad or not be as fulfilling as it could be. And I feel like this is somebody that's kind of like shifting their type or changing their type. It almost, or like, because honestly, I had that personally experience where I kind of had to realize, like, wait a second, I'm gravitating towards this type of person. But every single time that I gravitate towards this sort of archetype of a person, I end up in, crummy relationships. I'm unfulfilled. You know, chaos happens. So it feels like this person could even be evaluating, like, how they have gone towards their type or like a very specific type. And now they're realizing, wait a second, maybe I need to branch out or kind of break free from those stereotypes, or not stereotypes, those archetypes that I'm so attracted to. And maybe I need to kind of open my mind to other expressions of people, other archetypes of people, other personalities, physical differences, even maybe. Maybe they had like a very specific type of person. But it feels like you are different than their usual type. I almost, like, I'm just going to say what I feel. I feel like this is somebody that probably typically goes towards people that are very unfeeling, that are maybe very insecure, very, not very grounded, people that are maybe even slightly crazy. I know that sounds kind of maybe offensive, but like that sometimes that's a type, like, if especially like honestly I feel like that happens more so when it's like neurodivergent people, where it's like, okay, I'm neurodivergent and I can clearly tell this other person is neurodivergent too, so we'll have that in common. They'll understand my crazy, I'll understand their crazy. But it doesn't always work out like that. Sometimes it just leads to more trauma because the two of you may have very different sort of neurodivergencies and may have like just a mismatch, but it's almost like you seem stable, you seem secure, you seem calm, peaceful, tranquil, down to earth, grounded, grounded in like knowing who you are and what you're doing here. And I feel like this person is liking that a lot. And maybe they kind of had to take a minute to kind of be like, you know, yeah, this person may not be my, type that I usually go towards, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe this is the type of person that actually would be good for me, that would actually be fulfilling for me. Interesting, yeah. Such an interesting message. I was not expecting to get that message, especially not with the Six of Cups, but that's what I'm getting. And then with the Seven of Cups at the bottom of the deck, why do I feel like, honestly, this could be somebody with a lot of options in love or relationships or potential relationships and stuff. But again, it's like in the past, they've kind of been a little bit cloudy with their decision making. And they could, and that's another thing too, is like sometimes our types are, sometimes they just remind us of home. But if we grew up in a very tumultuous home environment, With people that, are parents that couldn't emotionally regulate themselves, you know, people that, maybe our parents were abusive, toxic, neglectful, showed up in these very specific ways. And so when we see that reflected in another person, we can feel like that's home. And so I'm going to go towards it. But the thing is, it's sort of like a trick, because it's just going to lead you to sort of repeat cycles of the past, because it's really not good for you. It's just what you're used to. But yeah, so I feel like this is somebody that may have like a lot of options, but they've been kind of like dreamy when they make their decision. And like, I almost feel like it's like that feeling of like ecstasy or a high, especially when you're first getting to know someone. And sometimes we can sort of project onto them to make them out to be like the perfect person. We can mentally, check off this and this before we actually know that person fully, before we actually get a really good foundation set up before building a relationship on top of that. And so, yeah, that can really lead to a lot of unhealthy experiences. So it feels like they're finally evaluating things from a different perspective, where it's like, yeah, it's like a shift in perspective for sure. And so it's like, yes, I would typically navigate towards people that look mentally unhinged, but this time I think I'm going to try to go towards somebody that seems like they are good at emotional regulation, for example, or they know how to control themselves, they know how to control their emotions, they know how to control certain things about themselves. Yeah, because it's like, even if it's uncomfortable, it may be exactly what that person needs. And yeah, sometimes our types, that we have in, for potential partners, they can really limit us and they can be very unhealthy. So I feel like that's kind of what this person's been going through, is like super evaluating things. I want to see what's underneath that Seven of Cups. Page of Wands. So yeah, this could be this Page of Wands we saw earlier, but nah. I feel like this is a different energy. Now, I think this is somebody that you may not even know. You could also remind them of someone that they knew in their youth, and maybe that's also the connection with that Six of Cups that we're clarifying. Might be a chipmunk or something. Where was I? What was I talking about? Oh, Page of Wands underneath the Seven of Cups. So again, there's like that rejuvenation, that transformation, that rebirth energy I'm getting with that Page of Wands. So this person could have been, stuck in a very specific type of, or stuck on a specific type of person in their past. But because they want to do something different now, they want to try a different type of person. They want to try somebody that kind of contradicts their past type. They are sort of showing up in a completely different energy as well. This is a more open energy. This is a more optimistic energy. This is a more... I feel like they have a more open mind now. They're more open to the possibilities. They're not restricting themselves in the same way that they used to in the past. And there's something about being a lot less fearful. Being fearless, even. Very interesting. Okay. Let's go on to the Hanged Man. Clarify that, please and thank you, Spirit. Who's in the collective's energy and why with the Hanged Man? Please and thank you. Just right off the bat, the Hanged Man is giving me somebody watching you. And I don't mean that to sound scary or creepy. I think it may just be somebody that's curious. We'll see about their energy when we clarify, of course. Anything else for that Hanged Man? Please and thank you, Spirit. Who's watching the collective and why with the Hanged Man? Okay. Interesting. So, clarifying the Hanged Man, we have the Knight of Pentacles, Three of Pentacles in the reverse, Page of Pentacles upright, and then bottom of the deck, Two of Cups. This is somebody that's very slow moving. May have no desire to even come towards you. Because the Hanged Man is also about that period of pause. And then Knight of Pentacles can also be about a period of pause. Pause before action. Three of Pentacles in the reverse. Why? So the Three of Pentacles upright is like building with others, but in the reverse it hits me more so as like demolishing whatever it was that was built with other people. Or deconstructing a foundation, and maybe this has something to do with mindsets as well. Because like I said earlier, sometimes the mindsets that we gain, especially when it comes to our self-image, are... Sorry about that. I just kept hearing something in the brush in front of me. It sounded like a creature struggling. So I had to investigate, because if I hear a creature struggling, it's my go-to call to arms, as it were. I did leave the stick that I was poking at the brush with. I left it partially in the water so that, you know, on the off chance that there is something struggling, I could grab onto the stick and hopefully pull themselves up. But I did see what looks to be maybe a hole, so it could just be a chipmunk coming in and out of its house. But of course I have to make everything super dramatic. Anywho, back to the reading. The reading that's probably like 2 hours long by now. Yeah, I feel like something's being deconstructed with the Three of Pentacles in the reverse. Whether that's like their view of life, what building with others, collaborating with others, interactions with others. It almost even feels like maybe this is somebody that had a foundation that they were building with someone, but they realized that that was not a fruitful foundation, that was not a sturdy one, wasn't well built, but they want a strong foundation just elsewhere. And because it's clarifying the Hanged Man in the upright, I feel like it's talking about how this person has come to this realization through reflection. Also, golden backgrounds on both the Knight of Pentacles and the Page of Pentacles. The gold backgrounds are supposed to indicate happiness or happy cards. So I almost feel like this could be somebody that sees you as their true happiness, and whatever they had in the past was not. Whatever they were building before, maybe before meeting you, it's not sturdy, it's not a solid foundation, but they feel like with you, there's an actual potential for a sturdier foundation. And it seems like this person may be shy, so I don't know if they're actually going to come forward with any information about this, because, you know, the Knight of Pentacles is the slowest moving knight in the deck. We're clarifying the Hanged Man, which is about taking a pause. But it's like somebody that's observing you sees you as someone that could make them more happy than whoever else is in their life that they've tried to build with. You know, there's no cups or anything other than at the bottom of the deck, so it is possible that this is not romantic, and maybe this could just be like friendships, like somebody that sees you as like, hey, this could be somebody that would actually be a decent friend, whereas the friends that I've had in the past have, you know, not served me well or whatever. That's what it feels like. It's like they are reflecting on their life and how it doesn't align to what they see could be possible with you. And again, it doesn't have to be romantic specifically, it could just be like friendships or acquaintanceships. I don't even think that's a word, but yeah. But then the Two of Cups at the bottom of the deck, so it could definitely be that this is romantic. And maybe somebody's just like, I started to build a foundation with this person over here, but I'm realizing the collective is either a better option, or I feel like we could build something sturdy together that would last the test of time. Also, healing could be a part of it. It's like they feel like a connection with you or building with you would be very healing for them. They could feel like you match their energy, or they wouldn't have to worry with you, that you would give back the same that you got. So if this is somebody that's used to giving and not receiving a lot back, they could see you and be like, now that's somebody that would give back and not just take. Maybe you show up in this person's life in a very kind, giving, generous sort of energy. And maybe that's what they're basing these thoughts off of. Because it definitely feels like more so thoughts than any sort of action. It feels like reflection, thinking, considering. The Two of Cups could also indicate that maybe this person's currently already in a relationship and they're thinking, I don't like it. They're thinking, I'd rather be with the collective over there. Oh, there's 3 little ducks in a row swimming down the stream. They're so freaking cute. Oh, little duckies are so darn cute. Okay, anyways, let's see what's underneath that Two of Cups. 3 of Wands. Whoa. Well, that changes things. Because the 3 of Wands, well, it can be a card of waiting, like waiting for the right moment to strike or do something. But sometimes it can also be like the right timing is now. So maybe this person feels a sense of pressure to come towards you or to express something here, maybe about their feelings towards you. They could feel like it's mutual. If they have romantic feelings for you, they may feel like you have romantic feelings for them too. I don't know how realistic that is, but they may think that. But yeah, I don't know. They could wait in this energy for a long time though, at the same time, especially with the energy that we see here, which is very much, this is a person of pause, somebody that may take a long time before they actually act on something, even if they want it. So yeah, I still don't know if this is somebody that would straight up be able to communicate with you, or at least not soon, is what I'm feeling. Because it feels like, because it's almost like they want the exact perfect timing or the right sort of environment, energy. And the thing about that is, like, sometimes there's not a perfect moment to do something. Sometimes, if you're waiting for the very perfect moment to do something, you may be waiting forever, right? Because it's like, what is a perfect moment, Interesting though. Very interesting. So I feel like this is somebody that's definitely considering you to be more stable, secure, and somebody that they could actually build with. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Okay, let's go on to the Empress. Clarify that, please, and thank you, Spirit. Who is in the collective's energy and why? Thank you. Anything else for that Empress card? Who's in the collective's energy and why? Please and thank you, Spirit. Who is in the collective's energy and why with that Empress card? Please and thank you, Spirit. Can you clarify the Empress? Who's in the energy of the collective and why are they there? What the heck do they want? Okay, I'll take those, even though I typically don't like to take stacks, but not much is coming out, so I'm feeling inclined. Oh, interesting. Okay. So, also it's the last card we're clarifying, so it's okay if there's more cards that come out. Seven of Cups came out to clarify that Empress. Ten of Wands. Ace of Cups. Strength card. Knight of Cups. Nine of Wands. And then the Five of Swords came out in the reverse, but this was interesting because it sort of shifted out of the pile, and I took that to mean that it was meant to come out, but I didn't switch, like it didn't flip over or anything, so it was in the deck upside down, which I always make sure that my decks are like right side up, just so I can know what is truly meant to come out in the reverse or not. And that was in the deck upside down, which is very uncommon for me. And then bottom of the deck is the Knight of Swords. So somebody has something to say here to you. Well, since it is clarifying the Empress, this could be like a mother figure or a motherly figure, but part of me kind of doubts that. Or, well, I mean, if you are into single mothers, you know, there's a lot of good-looking single moms out there. So, you know, who knows? Maybe it is. Ooh. It could be a maternal figure, parental figure, just not your parental figure, because it does feel like there is that romantic aspect to this. And on the other hand, this could be somebody that sees you as the Empress, which would probably make sense if they see you as the Empress, and that's kind of why they are the one taking action towards you. Because we have the Knight of Cups and we have the Knight of Swords. So it's like that desire for going forward towards you and communicating something. And the Empress is usually that energy of like kind of, you know, receiving, not doing a lot of action. Okay, so with that Seven of Cups being the first one to come out to clarify that Empress, I feel like this is somebody that sees you as having a lot of options. And they also may be confused whether or not you're single. They may not know, and they want to know. Like, what are you dealing with behind the scenes? Like, what do you have going on in your dating life is kind of the energy I'm getting with that. And it doesn't feel like they just want to know to be nosy. It's like they have like a desire to know so that they can make the right moves if they have the opportunity to do so. And then the Ten of Wands. This could be something that's been building for some time. Also, the desire to know whether you're single or not could have been building in this person for quite some time. So maybe this is somebody that's been wanting to ask, hey, are you single? But they may have not really had the confidence to actually come forward and ask. But it feels like they're hitting their, like that point of like, okay, it's time to act now. I've waited long enough. I've held on to these thoughts or feelings for long enough. And then the Ace of Cups following that Ten of Swords. So it really does feel like there is this desire to share love with you. And, you know, I guess if it is like, you know, a maternal or parental sort of person or figure in your life, they could just be expressing that they love you and they care about you and maybe they miss you or something along those lines. But with the romantic perspective, it feels like this is somebody that has a lot of emotions for you, a lot of feelings for you, and they want to express that and share that with you. And then the Strength card, this is them being courageous. This is them stepping up to the plate, even if it's uncomfortable. Even if they don't want to do it, they're like, I'm going to do it. And again, it could just be like they've been waiting long enough, and so they're just like, you know what, I'm going to do it. Even if I'm scared. And that's the other thing too, is like when it comes to things that we're afraid of doing or scared to do, it's not really about how can I make my fear go away? How can I make this scared feeling I feel go away. It's not about that. It's more so about like, okay, I feel fear. I feel hesitant and, you know, all that stuff. But I'm still going to do it anyways. And finding that inner strength to do that. And I think that's what this person's doing. And then the Knight of Cups, it's like, okay, I'm coming in. I'm being clear about what I'm here for, and I'm here to express my feelings to you. Are you single? Are you interested? Kind of thing. And now I'm seeing the Nine of Wands. That maybe they see you as a wounded warrior. They see that you've gone through a lot, especially in relationships. And so maybe they just assume that you're not even interested in relationships, that you're not even interested in romance. So maybe that's a whole nother part, is like maybe not even specifically, are you single? But like, are you interested in anyone? Anything? Like, you know, like any sort of connection? Like, or are you just completely cut off to all of it and not interested in any of it? Yeah, and with the Five of Swords in the reverse, following that Nine of Wands, this could be somebody that either knows that you've gone through shit in your past, like had probably abusive partners, or people that were really toxic, treated you badly, or they can get that feeling through simply interacting with you, feeling your energy, reading between the lines, sort of. And they're like, wow, this person's been through a lot, so maybe they're completely closed off to relationships in general. Like, kind of like, maybe it's not even specific to them. It's like you're just closed off in general, is what they may kind of fear or assume based off of how they perceive you. And with the Five of Swords in the reverse, like upright, I would be like, okay, like red flag. But in the reverse, it's almost like I feel like this person kind of wants to come into your life gently, not forcefully, not arrogantly. And they definitely don't want to create any friction or conflict. So I almost feel like they could even feel like they're kind of walking on eggshells coming into the picture, because they're not sure where your mind is at, where your heart is at. And I feel like this person's being very careful with how they approach you, how they bring up these subjects. Even if they do come forward quite confidently, I feel like they're trying to be gentle, if that makes any sense. Not super intense very quickly, slow and steady maybe. That. Anyways, Knight of Swords at the bottom of the deck. This is somebody that, although I think this is somebody that has been thinking about coming towards you for some time, maybe this is somebody that's, gonna take that risk and maybe even act slightly impulsively to come towards you and be like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. That's kind of the energy I'm getting. Like, I've been waiting around long enough. I'm just gonna go for it. Even if right now is not the perfect timing, even if it blows up in my face, if I hear what I don't want to hear, I'm just gonna go for it anyways. So, because it's like I've been waiting long enough. I've been preparing long enough. Yeah. I want to see what's underneath that Knight of Swords. What the heck? I guess I did shuffle weird. Because there's a bunch of upside down cards in my deck. I must have shuffled strangely, because I usually always make sure they're all upright. I can't remember the last time I did this. I must have been very, mindlessly shuffling or something. Well, I'm going to read it like that because it feels like it's intentional. Oh, I see what this means too. Okay, so with the Queen of Cups at the bottom of the deck in the reverse, they could fear that you are not going to be kind, that you're going to shut off your heart, or that that sweet mode, because I think you are a person that's typically very sweet, kind, shows up in that sort of energy. But maybe they're worried about triggering the other side of you. the person that's not, or the side of you that's not as caring, not as emotionally open, maybe even slightly closed off, maybe even slightly upset, or simply like uninterested in them romantically. Could definitely be a sign there, or message there. Like they're worried that you're just completely not interested in them whatsoever, that you don't feel that way towards them. And I'm just going to look underneath. Okay, I thought I saw that star card. And again, reverse. I almost feel like there's a isolation energy I'm getting with that star card in the reverse. Kind of like you've been focusing on your own healing. And maybe this person worries almost like if they come towards you, are you going to see them as a distraction from what you've been healing and what you have been working on? It's almost like they don't want to sabotage that. And they're also a little bit fearful because it's like maybe you kind of need this moment of isolation or this period of isolation so that you can work through some stuff and maybe even work on your spirituality or your spiritual enlightenment, spiritual journey. And so it's like they're afraid of messing that up for you or coming in at the wrong time. Yeah, so this person I think is scared, but they're still coming towards you. So I think that they've mastered that strength card. It's like it's not really about getting rid of the fear, it's about doing it anyways, even if you're afraid. And I feel like that's what this person feels, is like, yeah, I'm probably afraid, and they may not even be receptive, they meaning you, the collective. They could be worried that, like, okay, the collective may not even be interested, may not even be looking for this type of connection, not focused on this type of connection, may have other things going on in their life that they're, more, that's either more important, more of a priority, more of a focus. Yeah. But I feel like that's probably more so fear. Especially because this is right now really just a concept. I don't think that this is somebody that has already come towards you. And, before we really act on anything, typically we try to really think things through before we act, right? And so I almost feel like this could just be somebody that's kind of like, their brain may even be kind of like fighting them, like, feeding them full of fear and, like the worst case scenario. But yeah, maybe it's just simply to prepare themselves in case it goes very bad and not really based on what is actually going to happen. Interesting. Very interesting. And then bottom of the deck here, we have the Five of Swords upright. I honestly feel like people that are in your energy could see that you are focused on other things. Because sometimes the Five of Swords can be a message of like winning no matter what the cost. And maybe some people see you that way when it comes to your own goals, the things you have going on in your life. It's like, I am focusing on this and no one else can distract me. Nobody else can come towards me. Nobody else can, come into my energy and try to interrupt that. There may be a little bit of like a seriousness that they kind of feel with you too. I don't know. Maybe you've just not really been in a very receptive mode recently. And so maybe this is a specific energy that feels like you haven't been receptive towards them specifically. And so they're maybe fearing. I think there's birds above me that are fighting. Yeah, they could just be fearing um, kind of like the worst kind of reaction, I guess. I want to say what's underneath that Five of Swords. Sun card. So that's kind of interesting. Why do I feel like you may put on a front? Honestly, this gives me RBF, which is resting bitch face, which is, looking very serious when you're not really, expressing yourself. Um, but like maybe if somebody interacts with you, you're all smiles. But until that point, you kind of look like you're angry or something. Um, yeah, it almost feels like you're very serious on the outside, maybe even slightly a fighter or a warrior, and like kind of focused on winning something, fighting for something, even. And then when it's like underneath that exterior is this warm, inviting, happy energy.
So at this point, my phone died, which honestly, this time I don't blame my phone because I was recording for a really long time on it. Um, but, anyways, where I left off, there was a message about how people kind of want to get to that warm center. There's like that rough exterior that people are trying to kind of get past in order to access that warm kindness within you that I feel like you've had to kind of protect out of necessity through your experiences. Um, but yeah, it just intrigues people even more. It's almost like they want to be in your energy because they want to get a glimpse, a peek at that beautiful soul that you have within you. And now I'm just going to ask the oracle if there's any extra messages to go with this reading. Please and thank you, Spirit. Are there any additional messages that you would like to give the collective for this reading about people that are in their energy? Please and thank you, Spirit. Any additional messages? Please and thank you. Any additional messages? Please and thank you, Spirit. Ooh, beautiful. Okay. Thank you, Spirit. Okay. So a few did come out. We have the turtle and coriander. This represents satisfaction. I feel like people feel satisfied when they're in your energy because they know that there's like more to you, and not everybody gets to glimpse at the beautiful, intricate details of who you are. You're very much a mystery to a lot of people, and I think that may be partially why people are so interested in you and why they want to be near you, why they want to be in your energy. And then the hawk and thistle came out that represents graceful persistence. So this is interesting because it almost hits me as like people know that they have to kind of act right if they're going to see those deeper parts to you, the parts that you don't always allow everyone to see. And it's almost like people know that they need to kind of act right if they have any chance whatsoever of getting close to you, getting to know you. There's also like something there about like you demand respect out of people. You don't even have to say anything. They just know through the energy that you're showing up in. Like you need to respect this collective, okay? And then the owl and hop representing wisdom. You have great wisdom within yourself. I feel like people get glimpses at that wisdom, but it's almost like they know that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to you. And I honestly get that feeling very strongly. There's something about the tip of the iceberg when it comes to you. People get glimpses here and there of something deeper, something more powerful, something that is, it almost feels like divine wisdom. Like it's so beyond the typical kind of person that people interact with. And there's like this open consciousness that you have. You're also interconnected to the universe. And there's like just so much wisdom and power that you hold within you. And people are just like so hungry to get to know more about it, get to know more about you, get closer to figuring you out in some regard. The mouse and buttercup also came out, and this represents innocence. To me, this is like the part of you that you try to protect. There's like this gentle innocence that you have within you. And again, people I think get glimpses here and there, but you're very protective, is what I'm getting very strongly. You're very protective of these sensitive, soft parts within you because they have been misused. They have been used against you in some way. And so you protect that very strongly. But people get glimpses here and there, and they just have that hunger, that thirst to know more about you, know more of your backstory as well. Because it's like, how did you become who you are today? There's just so many interesting parts to you. And I think that's it as well, is like you have multiple parts to you. There's so many like different parts and different aspects. And almost sometimes it feels like they could be in direct contradiction or conflict with one another, but for some reason, they all exist within you. And it comes across as like a peaceful harmony rather than a chaotic storm, if that makes any sense. There's just so much that intrigues people about you, and so naturally they're going to gravitate towards you. They're going to naturally want to be around you. They're going to naturally be curious about you. At the bottom of the deck is the Deer and Oat, and this represents healing. You've done so much healing on yourself. You've done so much healing within yourself. And I honestly feel like that's another thing that people want to know is like, how? How did you heal yourself? How did you, especially with all these beautiful parts that you have within you, how did you find balance? How did you find harmony? Because so many people experience disharmony and chaos within themselves. And here you are appearing like that doesn't affect you. You have calmness, you have serenity, you have peace, harmony. And people want to know how. They want to know how you did it. People really, really want to know your story. There's just so much about you that intrigues people. All right, so that is the end of this reading. I really hope that you enjoyed it. And I hope that it resonated. If it did resonate, feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you subscribe, you can become a part of the Hive Collective, because my name is Bee. Bees live in hives, and you can become an honorary bee like me, and we can be a little bee family together. If you like my readings and you'd like to see more, be sure to click the bell icon down below so that YouTube actually notifies you the next time I upload. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Bye.